To My Dear and Loving Husband by Anne Bradstreet. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can no way repay. The heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then while we live, in love let's so persevere, that when we live no more, we may live ever. This is a beautiful interior type poem written in first-person narrative by Anne Bradstreet. We can see through her story of Christian faith and love for her husband and family in the New World of America that this poem is very personal to her. It was one of the ways she coped with the very difficult life in America. The pronouns in this poem also demonstrate that it is first-person narrative. As I walk through this poem with you, the characteristics of this poem will become very clear and understood. The first one is that this poem is organic. We will see how by breaking up this poem, the parts become clearly understood, and by the end, the whole idea will be evident. Second is the author's concentrated use of language. Anne Bradstreet uses a lot of imagery in her poem to explain the value she places on her husband's love. Another characteristic is the dramatic situation she presents. In this poem, Anne explains the struggle she has inside to match her husband's demonstration of love in their relationship. By the end, we will see how she resolves this struggle. Lastly is an apparent set of human values and situations. Obviously, Anne is not alone in this struggle. It is a very common struggle among couples. This does not mean it is bad to struggle with it. We should strive to outserve each other in a relationship. That's part of love. But it is a struggle nonetheless among humans. Also with the human values comes her love and faith in God. Now I'm going to walk you through the rhyme pattern that Anne uses for her poem. As we look at this poem, the rhyme scheme is pretty basic to start out. Each line rhymes with the next, AA, BB, CC. Then we see a slight change in pattern as the next two lines do not rhyme, and are therefore labeled DE. The next two go back to the previous pattern, FF. Then it ends with two more lines that do not rhyme, GH. As I show you the breakdown of this poem, the rhyme scheme will also help you to understand why it's broken up the way it is. I think this is very intentional on Anne Bradstreet's part. Let's take a look. As you can see, the rhyme pattern really helps with breaking up this poem. You may notice it is broken up out of order. I believe this is the best way to really understand this poem. Based on the rhyme scheme, I think it was Anne's intention for it to be broken up this way as well. Let's take this section by section. I'm going to go ahead and read each section of the poem to help us better understand how these sections fit together. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. This section causes the reader to assume this is a newly married couple. The wife is clearly overjoyed with her husband, so much so that she believes they are the most united and in-love couple there is. She even goes so far as to dare someone to compare their happiness with how happy she is. This demonstrates human value in a situation of love between a husband and a wife. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. Thy love is such I can no way repay. The heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. This part really shows how much Anne loved her husband. This is also where the struggle or conflict comes in. You can see in how she describes her husband's love as having value more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches the east doth hold. That is a pretty high value to place on love. Imagine owing someone the monetary value of an entire gold mine. It would take a lifetime to repay. That is exactly how she feels, and she expresses that in the next two lines, that she feels she cannot repay him all the love he has shown her, so she hopes that heaven will. Because we know Anne was a Christian, we can see the correlation between the love she has with her husband and the love she has with God. What a beautiful picture of godly love in a marriage. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Then while we live, in love let's so persevere, that when we live no more, we may live ever. This last part describes the love Anne has for her husband. The imagery here is beautiful. All the water in a river cannot quench her desire to always be showing love to her husband. She also says she desires to love him forever. Here we see her resolving the conflict. If she can't pay him back, she will simply keep on loving him, even after death, so their love will never end. Seeing as how Anne was a Christian, I think it's fair to say that her idea behind this poem is both a physical and a supernatural spiritual one. The love she has for her husband that she feels she cannot repay is very similar to how we should feel with our love towards God, and that He has died for us and we will never be able to repay that back. Just so as a relationship, a godly marriage should demonstrate the same type of love and desire to serve.